I just want to apologize ahead of time. I've been um, resting to recover from a minor injury the past couple days, so I'm recording right from my laptop, which I don't normally do. I normally use a microphone, so sorry for the worse than normal sound. Thank you.
Get back to that place to where you couldn't wait to get to church and hear what God had for you tonight. I want to hear what the Lord has put in that guy's mind.
Well, this is one of the many things that supposedly God has put in that guy's mind.
The dad is to rule the family and everybody in it. A reverence that causes us to not get out of line. If your wife gets out of line and starts jacking you up and getting in your face, just tell her, you need to close your pie hole. I run this house, not you. You got the guts for that? Well, you have to be nice. You can't be nice about this stuff. Nice doesn't work.
I know, I mean, wives, stop harassing your husbands about the way they live.
Yes.
If you want them to get right to God, get them in church. Let the God deal with them. Let the Holy Spirit get all over them.
Yes.
This is one of the subtle and not so subtle ways that controlling groups like this make it to where you believe the only place that God is going to move or come down or be present to work in someone's life is in a church building, designated so. And that by reason, anybody standing behind that pulpit and claims to be a spokesman for that God is correct. You're not to question it, even though there's not 1 ounce of proof.
The purpose of preaching and of church should be to lift up Jesus Christ, not a man, no special revelation that contradicts the Bible. You got to pay tithe or go to hell. No special revelation that contradicts the Bible. It's that simple. As God said it. And if you don't, you're a God robber. No special revelation that contradicts the Bible. You might as well put the gun to God's head and say, I'm going to kill you if you don't give me all your money.
And it's not just tithing that these folks believe in, that you tithe or go to hell, that you have to do it. Your salvation is contingent on it, though it was an Old Testament requirement, has nothing to do with the New Testament. But they will tell you, it's like Kekel just said, the leader of this group, you will tithe or go to hell. And not just tithe, back tithe. And not just tithe of gross income. All of your increase, any gifts, anything, you better tithe it. And you can't get away with amounts if you're in the military, because they know what you make based by your rank.
No idea who's praying again. Amen. There's a brother here, and he's faithful in the work now, but halfway through COVID, he sent me a text, or he gave me a phone call. He said, I just paid about $8,000 of back tithe.
No special revelation that contradicts the Bible. I want to hear what the Lord has put in that guy's mind. And in all that, it was nothing for us, not just me, these other men, to give these big offerings. And he and this other guys are the ones that take care of the finances. So, $20 or $50. How come no one ever stuffs a $100 bill in an offering envelope? Give me all your money.
Well, I'm a Christian. Are you really a Christian? How are you a Christian? Criticizing other people.
He's got this big old afro waving in the wind. You know, kind of like young people today. They know that the Bible condemns long hair on a man, so they just grow it up instead of down. The haystack on their head, that kind of thing. It's still long, honey. It's still long. 1 Corinthians 11. That's not my doctrine. That's God's doctrine. Get a haircut.
And my dear friends, It cannot be any old haircut. You must look like and follow the standard of NTCC, which is you must look like you're from the 1950s. And if you think I'm kidding you or exaggerating, just go take a gander at pictures from all the different churches in the group. Just a small sampling even, you'll see exactly what I mean. Look at the choir in Graham.
Well, I'm a Christian. Are you really a Christian? How are you a Christian? Criticizing other people.
I mean, I may have been green as a gourd, a stack of bananas at Costco on Monday morning. But I had enough sense to know that this guy was an idiot. And he kept me, what's he doing standing there looking like a dandelion about to go to seed?
How are you a Christian? Criticizing other people.
Like one of those guys at the 70s disco, where's your bell bottoms, pal? I said, man, he looks like the world. I was somewhere not long ago, and this guy doesn't come to church with us anymore. He comes traipsing in, or as Pastor Davis used to say, aping in, and sitting with all the brethren and eating and fellowshipping. And I thought, what does he have to do with us? What is he coming around here for? He's not of us. And Pastor Kekel's in town. Well, if he's not around when I'm not in town, I don't really want him around when I am. Hypocrites, two-faced, lying phonies.
You can take your Jesus is love stuff and see if it holds up on that day.
Till such a time, right? I'm going to keep preaching and keep living for God. And if you don't like the fact that it says New Testament Christian Church, go away. Stop watching.
There's the door.
Right? New Testament Christian Church is heaven. Just because that's a sign on the door, you think I'm beholden to New Testament Christian Church?
Hello, Mr. Denton? Yes, I do believe you are.
I'm beholden to God. And I'm part of this organization because it's organization that's beholden to God.
Yes.
And we used to talk within our churches, in our organization, about being the last hope for America. For this, we caught a lot of flack and a lot of fire for even saying something like that. But it was not a thing that was far-fetched when you look around at what's going on in the world and how hard it is to find someone still preaching about Jesus. And if they are they preaching him holy, risen, and God? All of these basic, fundamental, and important doctrines of Christianity have been undermined by so many today. I'm glad tithing is not just an Old Testament teaching, because if it was, the statements in 1 Corinthians 9 would not be there. It's for our sake, that they that preach the gospel should live of the gospel. Man, the people ought to take care of their pastor. They ought to bring him veggies out of the garden. They ought to give him offerings, buy him Starbucks, take care of him. But nowadays, it's like, the preacher's in it just for the money. But you should take care of him. You want him there when you need counseling. You want him there when you're in the hospital. You want him there when you need somebody to pray. And you want him to teach you the word and to study and get all that. But you don't want to do anything to take care of him, you loser.
How are you a Christian? Criticizing other people.
You should take care of him. You want him there when you need counseling. You want him there when you're in the hospital. You want him there when you need somebody to pray. And you want him to teach you the word and to study and get all that. But you don't want to do anything to take care of him, you loser.
Well, if you want Mike there, you may have to get in touch with someone else, because he's got a new home in Arizona he's been working on, and he just came back from a 2-week European tour. So you better check. Better check first.
And for those of you that didn't even know we went anywhere, we've been to Italy, to Croatia, to Greece, to France, to Spain. There's probably one or two I missed in there, all within 10, 12 days. That's awesome, isn't it? So that's 2 vacations stacked together in 10 years. Not bad. Not really. I had more than that. I'm thankful for that.
Good thing he caught himself in that little mistake. As a reminder, I dug out this video that I had posted a little bit ago.
And I appreciate her and everything she is to me and my wife and our ministry, and absolutely a blessing in every way. Always working, nonstop, even when you think that she should be on vacation, still continuously working.
I'm not sure what he means by that. I mean, I say a lot of awkward things, so I can't fault him for it, but he said, even when you think she should be on vacation, she's still continuously working. Well, I think Mr. Cardenas knows that Tanya has been on plenty of vacations in her recent lifetime. When was the last time you, Mr. Preacher Man or Preacher Man's wife, out on the field? When were you last on vacation for a week or two? Go on a cruise? When was it? The first time I heard of one in recent history, ever. Because Davis was down on vacations. Down. He was down. He wasn't down with it. He was down on it. He was not having it. And so there was this revelation recently. I think this is from August, if I'm not mistaken, up in Graham.
And, of course, Reverend Fausto, he's taken off on us. So, but he's going on vacation, so pray for that it's blessed and that everything goes good.
So I'm not shocked that he's mentioned. I've looked through a lot of videos, and I'm looking through more to find out who else was able to go on vacation and Kinson asked prayers for. Has Kinson been on vacation? Well, so let's go back to Cardenas, talking about how when you think Sister Kekel needs a vacation, let's see, has she been on any? This picture is from Iceland. This one shows her at the Sea of Galilee. I find this one very interesting. Whenever a preacher tries to hide that that's what they are and that's what they do, such as on LinkedIn, some of them have done that. I believe Kekel is one. He likes to promote himself as a CEO. How do I know all this? Well, if you see on there, Mike says to read his blog. So I went and I read the blog. Lots of posts about their trips with pictures. And I really wondered, for all the different ones that made comments and liked it, some of them being ministers or ministers' wives, I really wonder what went through their head when they read all these different posts about all these different places. Never mind the little side trips they take when they go out to visit the churches. This one I found just in looking at different things. Tanya has a whole separate Twitter account. It seems to be mostly her retweeting all kinds of political stuff up until, it's current. And so I found this picture tucked away while just scrolling through it. I don't think she's trying to hide anything. I think certain people know she has this account. And here I've included just a sampling of some of the entries on the blog, but you can see clearly they've had some trips. Trips not afforded to others, except we see that Fausto has gone for a week at least one time. But what about all those out in the field? When do they get their vacations? Do they get a week? And it's been over 50 years of this organization, so I'm wondering when that will be forthcoming. Maybe instead of, it's not a big deal unless everyone is able to do the same thing. Maybe Mike and his wife can consider making good on the thing her daddy said, which was about going out to relieve the pastors in the churches. and give them a little time to step back, recuperate, become refreshed. Some of these people have been in their locations a long, long time. And if they've never been able to take a week off or something, it's another part of the awful nature of this institutionalized organizational thing. You're beholden to this board of directors and all these other things. If God were to tell a man out on the field, man, you need to take a week off, take 2 weeks, take a month, just go work, make some money, relax. I mean, I don't know if most of them even have money to take a vacation, but just to be able to stop and just have the freedom to do what you want each day. Sleep in late if you want, and just step back and get revitalized. I don't think they want anybody to have that time not associated with their organization, because they probably know once someone slows down and has time to relax and think and meditate, ruminate, that they'll realize that what they are involved in is not what they think it is. And maybe they'll make a move to do something about it. There is nothing like that in place, nothing. And why isn't there? And here is the website for his blog. It is mckekel.wordpress.com. And it's not about anybody. It's not about the Kekels taking a vacation. Take all the vacations you want. I think the more that man is away, the better it is for the mental health of people that are his followers. Honestly believe that. And all you have to do is watch his videos to find out why I believe that. This is not about, oh, you're talking about the Kekels going on vacation. You're a hater. You're bitter. You're jealous. No. This has to do with, and I'm someone who's, as I've said before, been there, done that. I've done things that the Kekels themselves have not done, which is to pioneer a work. They don't know what it's like as they go traipsing around the world. They go traipsing around the world. And he has the ever-loving gall to come back to Graham and rip you all a new one. And when I look at these videos and I see people I know have been in their place of labor a long time, and I wonder, have they ever once had a week off? When you're out there and you're dealing with people and their problems and pressure from Kekel especially, because isn't there a point where the two of them stop and say, look out at those faces at a conference and look at the different ones and say, oh my goodness, they've been in that city forever. I don't care how called of God you think you are to be in the particular city you're in. There is a point where anguishing for people and dealing with it every single week and having to deal with Graham and Olson and Mike and their demands and what they expect. And I'll tell you what they expect, because I'm going to share that next. Why don't they look out at you and say, we've got time on our hands. Let's start believing some of these preachers and their families and give them a break and give them a rest like we get, and let them take pictures and selfies from the deck of a cruise ship or from the Sea of Galilee, or maybe they just want to go. Maybe they don't want to go anywhere. Maybe they don't want to pick up stakes. And because sometimes going on vacation is honestly more work than it's worth. Sometimes just staying from your home base is everything. We'll go see our family and assure them we're not in a cult. See? We're here. Oh yeah, you've been in the ministry for how many years? Over 30, and now here you are having a vacation. Okay, sure. This particular video is directed at those in the ministry. Not exclusively, but mostly, because I hope. Now, I say this, and yet, I was just telling my daughter today that it can happen to church members too, because there are ogres out there in NTCC. There are ogres who are behind a pulpit, and they really thrive in the serviceman's environment because they just have willing yes men. That I was telling her how when I was over in the Philippines and the Blumenthals were there, my ex-husband got out of the military in upstate New York, flew over to the Philippines, and there was a sense that the day he flew in, I was thinking, you go be alone together, because it has been a year and a half separated, with maybe a week in between. No, I had to. It was a part of the environment to ask, was it okay that we stayed home from church? It was not okay. We had to be there. We were there. Good little foot soldiers that we were. Ugh. I wish he had said at the time, no. And I wish I had said at the time, no. And yet another red flag. I don't know if there's enough red material in the universe to make all of our red flags combined. I just don't. And now back to the present, May 27th, Monday. And on Sunday, I don't know if I mentioned this before, they not only went to all those countries, the Kekels, but they went to Monaco as well. And what do we see happen when Mike and his wife came back to Graham and he was preaching in front of the ministers there, those who had not the time to go and be refreshed for 2 weeks and see some sights and maybe even be inspired by a country they went to, or a state or a city, maybe burdened. Let's see, was Mike burdened? How did he treat people that he came across when he was on his European tour? And the next part will be continued on the next video.